Okay, I think I'm live. Is anybody tuned in and watching? I'm sorry, I think I set it up and I'm not sure if it was moving through or not. I have a few people watching, so I think I'm live. Tune in, tell me if you are. Randall, hi! How are you? Yay! We get to sit at the fireplace together, and if it's just you and I'm totally awesome with that. I don't know if this one actually has anything connected to it as to what we're talking about tonight. So I just want to say thank you for tuning in. I see a bunch of you are joining. Yes, I am live. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you for giving me that confirmation. Thank you, Randall. It is such a pleasure just to be here with you right now, present with you. And so much of the message tonight is about this. And the message that I'm sharing is about how our spiritual life and our material life are connected. And so I'm going to read to you the message that I received this week. And then I figured we can just talk about it. We can communicate back and forth now that I'm seeing comments and I can kind of scroll through. Hi, Billy Joe Stokes. It's so good to be here with you right now. Right now, I just want to share the message and then we can go ahead and go a little deeper into it. So the message that I received this week is this: your spiritual life and material life are not separate, but rather they enhance one another in a sacred relationship. This is the union you seek. Take courage, knowing the earthly tasks asked of you in spirit serve the highest good of all. Trust. So this was such a beautiful message that I received this week. And there were a few points to it. I think first it would be good to define what spiritual and material mean. And so for me, I think it's pretty easy to figure out what material is, right? Material is our earthly world. It's our bodies. It's what we can see. It's physical. That to me is what I think of when I think of material, meaning it's grasp. There's matter to it. Then when you think of spiritual, one of my definitions of spiritual is defying the laws of our consciousness, defying our consciousness. So I believe that we're here on this earth and there has been a consciousness on this earth since the beginning of our planet. It is a consciousness that's been here since the beginning of humanity. And this consciousness, if we're aware of it, we can actually, it's thought energy. It's the energy of what we're thinking all the time. And wherever we're at, no matter what, wherever we're at, anytime we're at somewhere, we're bombarded by it. And so spirituality to me is rising above that consciousness. It's defying the gravity of this consciousness of this world and rising above to a spiritual level where it's more heart-centered. It's more focused on the love. It's more focused on the higher aspects of who we are as spiritual beings. And so when we talk about the connection of that and how these two relationships enhance one another, what came to me is this beauty of when we bring our spirit into our body, when we are, like it said, taking courage, knowing that the task asked of us, meaning we're not getting caught up in this worldly thoughts and fears and all these different things. Instead, we're rising above that and tuning into our spirit. We're asked things on a whole different level. We are given spiritual gifts to use in this world, to materialize. So I think of the musicians, I think of the poets, I think how if they weren't paying attention to spirit and taking in these messages and sharing them, how selfish that would be, because they're not sharing that inspiration, that spirit-filled information that we all are yearning for on some level and we all connect to. And the beauty of this, what came to me is kind of what happened in the beginning of our week with the tragedy that happened in Texas. I mean, that was That was awful. And what I got out of that in seeing this message and seeing how that played out is that people are connected in this spiritual realm, and that is positive, and that is I don't want to use the word negative, but it is harmful. The thoughts that person had to go in and shoot in a church, and to me, I can't even comprehend. But they were living in a mental hell. They were spiritually being controlled by something that was not of love, of compassion, of those higher levels of spirit that we desire to bring in and that we aim to live in daily. And so he manifested something. It was material. It happened in this world, and it was tragic. Yet that was a spiritual and material connection. And so we can't ignore the spiritual aspect of who we are, because in so many ways that creates the material aspect of our world. And so we have a higher level of responsibility when we claim to be spiritual beings. So what was interesting to me is, I don't know how many of you have got this, but there's a lot of people out there that believe that if you are spiritual, then you shouldn't have things. You shouldn't desire things. I think we can all agree that spiritual means we're helping others, that it's a bigger plan, that it's a bigger picture. And so it was funny because I remember working with a coach a few years ago, and he told me, he said, if you don't have money, you can't spread your message. You can't share your gifts and talents. So it's really important to start breaking down those lies around the material world that we live in, because it's very real, just as real as our spiritual world. And when we're able to connect those, the way I believe we connect those is the way that the message came in, which is by we get that download of, wow, this is a great idea. This is full of inspiration. This moves me. This has purpose. This is something that I can go out and share with others and make a difference. And in return, in exchange, receive money, receive material items, make a difference, change matter. It's huge what we can do when we are so tuned in, and really it is that awareness. So I just thought that was so beautiful this week. And for me, it has been an incredible week of seeing things come together from that spiritual to the material. And it feels like it's happening faster. I don't know if any of you are experiencing that, but when we're tuned in, when we're in that space of really being present as to what it is we're called to in this world and who it is we're here to serve, those opportunities open up because we're aware of it. So it's so, so, so beautiful. I'm curious what your thoughts are, and I see exactly, yeah. So what are your thoughts about this? What do you guys think? I'm just kind of going through comments here. Sorry if my thumb's in front of you. I see a ton of you have joined. What are your thoughts about the spiritual and material connection? Is it something that I know for me, my biggest struggle around that has been the money aspect. But the more I realize that money is an exchange, the more I see that money is just the meaning that we give it. That's all it is. The material things are just the meaning we give it. But the beautiful thing is when we're living in spirit and when that's our mission, when that's our pursuit, then it's what I've found is that the material world then opens up in the same way. And that's the enhancement. That's the connection. But if I'm living for the material world, then I don't have the beauty of the spiritual unless I'm aware of it in that situation. So like I can look at the things around me in my beautiful bedroom, and I can just appreciate so much the creation that went into it and the beautiful items that are material right here in front of me. And then I'm having a spiritual relationship in this moment. I'm appreciating, I'm loving, I'm sensing, I'm present, I'm imagining what it'll be like to share this space with my children and all of these different things. So I believe the two are so connected, and it's just ourselves that make that disconnection so much of the time. So exactly. Oh gosh, I don't want to cancel you guys out here. Totally divine. Absolutely. It's who we are. So I'm so glad you guys have joined. I'm so glad you guys have shared your thoughts tonight. One of the things that came in on a personal level is my word of the year is union. And I thought that this was a union of trying to seek different aspects and put those together. But it was very clear. I love it when we can get messages that are so clear and so unique to us, where Spirit was saying, this is union. This is what you've been seeking, to share your gifts and talents in order to receive. And that giving and that receiving is abundant. So whatever it is that you have created, whatever your goods are, whatever your services are, whatever they are, if they're inspired, then share that. That's really my encouragement this week. And I believe, I'm reading Randall's comment here, I believe that spirit is transcendent. So it includes the material, but it is not bound, and it is not either or, exactly, unless we're stuck in the material. And I totally agree. It's transcendent, because if we believe that God is omnipresent and omnipotent and everywhere, then God's in all matter, here present in this bedroom, in the material things. It is all divine, and it's having that sacred relationship with life, because life is material. But then we're having a spiritual awareness in that energy of appreciation. And the interesting thing is, I believe that when I have that inspired moment, when I'm really connected to something and I'm getting I would call it a download, where I'm really tuned in, then when I go out and I share that, that's the magic. It's like, that is the creation of it in the material of it. So it's still present in the material. It's still there. Like, I can look at my paintings in this room and I can be taken back to that moment when those paintings were purchased. I can be taken back to the inspiration of purchasing whatever that was and the beauty in that. And so to me, that is the connection, because everything material has been inspired in some way. It's been created. So if it took money, if it took thought, if it took inspiration, whatever it might be, that's the beauty of it, is that it's all living together. So thank you for that comment, Randall, because that really was deep and made a significant impact. And yes. Hey, John, how are you doing? You guys, feel free to share where it is you're joining from. I would love to know where you guys live. I'm tuning in from Denver, and I've got my fireplace on in the background. It's a little chilly here. So I'm just kind of going through comments, and you guys are amazing. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's so great to just spend this time with you. I feel like you're just sitting here in my room. I wish they had Facebook Live where you could actually sit and look at one another face to face. Billy Joe from Virginia City, Nevada. Welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. Yeah, you guys are great. And I just want to connect with you more on a personal level and share the messages, but also share how it is that we receive these messages and how it is they apply to our lives. And that's why I share them, because to me, every week when I sit down and I sit there with my journal and I receive the messages, I'm tuning in, and then I'm creating with them all week long, and it's powerful. And I've gone back over years, and I encourage you to do the same thing no matter where you're at in life. It can shift things dramatically. So thank you all for tuning in tonight. And with that, I look forward to sharing our next Thursday night thought together.